For my A2 coursework, I created a promotional package for the release of a new album. This package included a music video, digipack and poster for local alternative rock band Fraser. Throughout all the products, synergy is created due to colours, a continuous house style and images that have been used on all the products. This has allowed me to not only promote Fraser's album but also target my audience within the indie subculture, Hebdige 1979 and indie rock subgenre Barry Keith Grant 1995. In the pre-production stage, I created an imaginary entity, Yanang 1991, so that I was able to refer back to an ideal audience member. My imaginary entity will be a white British male, aged between 18 and 24, who listens to indie music and also fits the indie stereotype, Walter Lippmann's 1922 theory, and likes to distinguish himself from others in the way that he dresses and the activities that he likes to take part in as part of Sarah Thornton's subcultural capital 1995. The images that we use for all the products play a massive part in creating synergy. During the pre-production stage of the digipack and poster, I decided that rather use photos I've taken of the band, I would use stills taken from the music video during the production stage of the main character, during the scenes from the narrative where he's walking down West Street in Sheffield drunk. An extreme close-up of the face was an ideal shot, so I used this. These stills consisted of close-ups of the protagonist. These images weren't taken with a DSLR camera, but a Canon Legria HV40 designed for capturing moving images. This caused a few problems in the sense that it meant often the frame I had chosen would have a slight blur, as opposed to the DSLR camera which would be set up specifically for a nighttime shoot. The blur of the moving image when selecting a frame actually ended up working in my favour when put into Photoshop, so I could add additional ghosting. I feel that the additional blur, even if accidental, really drove home the connotations of being drunk and lost in the middle of Sheffield. This in turn really helped to create synergy between the two projects, as the stills used on my digipack and poster were representative of those used in the video. I decided that the most effective way of showing performance and narrative in one image to place in two images in Photoshop, and changed the opacity on one, creating two visible layers. Additionally, I then altered the brightness of the images so they all matched. As the inside left of my digipack features a sort of collage of images from the music video. I then chose to select the Fraser A logo from the beginning of the video and use this on the inside right panel of my digipack, in front of where the CD is placed. Additionally, the A in Fraser on my promotional poster was also the same red A found in both of these products. This creates a brand identity and synergy between all of the three products put together. I pastiched the idea for the band's logo appearing at the start and the end of the music videos from Swim Deep's She Changes the Weather, as they all feature the band's logo at the beginning and the end, as does their album cover and promotional material. I really liked the brand identity that was created, and I decided I wanted to replicate it but use a letter rather than a symbol. I felt this was being creative in this decision to use the digital technology in the form of Photoshop allowed me to do this. Banerjee, Burnham, Buckingham, 2006. While in the pre-production stage, my group and I created call sheets for the band and the actors in preparation for the filming of Fraser's gig at Delaney's Bar in Sheffield. The call sheets included information such as location, costume, props and equipment used. These call sheets, therefore, allowed us to make sure that stereotypical elements of the indie subculture and the narrative of the video was met. For the gig, the band wore the likes of dark denim jeans, denim jackets, check shirts and Vans trainers. The main character wore a black blazer, dip-dye t-shirt, black jeans and Vans trainers. These are all stereotypical items of clothing for the indie subgenre, and therefore allowed us to exploit the stereotypical representations within this subcultural capital, Sarah Thornton 1995. Again, this targeting was continued into my ancillary products, as the still used on them showed the clothing. This made my poster and digipack equally as successful at targeting the audience as the music video in terms of mise-en-scène. On my digipack, I chose to only feature images that only showed the band and the protagonist in the music video. I made this decision because I felt that these were the key people that needed to be shown in order to create synergy between the products and to the target audience. This is because in relation to my genre, indie, and the performance section, the music is the most important part. This is the reason the performance takes up roughly 65% of the video. If I was to include an image of the antagonist, I feel as though the limelight would have been taken away from the protagonist and the band. I wanted then to make my digipack all about the band, with them featuring on the front cover. I used a landscape image of the whole band to show togetherness as a collective group, and also that I could all have them stood in a line. I chose to have the lead singer, Ash, stood at the front, slightly in front of the rest, in order to create an electronic shaman, which also carried over into the performance section of the video. We used lots of low-angled shots of Ash in order to connote male dominance, which was then juxtaposed with the use of instruments, in this case, guitars. This section of mise-en-scène was particularly important for the two reasons. The first being that guitar is a phallic symbol, which further helps to connote the ideology of a man playing a guitar being the norm, to create a further gender identity based on the stereotype, Walter Lippmann's 1922 theory, of men playing the guitar. The second reason was based on the clothes that the band wore. This included denim jackets and skinny jeans. All of these things are stereotypical of an indie band to create real diegesis in terms of making the performance believable for the audience, as you would expect an indie band to play live, wear a denim jacket and use guitars in their music. Additionally, the use of a small venue is also typical of our genre, as money in indie music is an issue. It's about getting out onto the scene and enjoyment, part of Richard Sennett's 2008 craftsman theory. Overall, I feel that synergy was successfully created across all the products in my promotional package. I think there was an opportunity to create synergy. For example, I could have used stills from the video on the front covers of the digipack. However, I personally feel that the decision to make it black and white was best, as it allowed me to alternatively meet the conventions of the indie sub-music genre and meet the interests of the indie subculture, as black and white connotes the lack of money in the genre. The font used for the main text of my ancillary products, i.e. the release info and the date on the poster and the track listing on the back of my CD cover, is all the same. I used Myriad Pro, as it is quite a versatile font in terms of you can manipulate it quite a lot through shape and size when using Photoshop to change boldness or italics. I used the same font throughout, as an audience will familiarise themselves with the font and become used to seeing it, helping it to sink in, a sort of house style across my advertising platform for the band's new album and single. It was also essential for me to use an image from the narrative section of the video on the teaser poster, as its purpose is not to give the whole narrative away in one picture. For this then, I used a still from the narrative of our protagonist on West Street with ghosting to connote drunkenness. This is also an extreme close-up in order for the audience to think about the confused facial expression of Show. This then creates an enigma code, Roman Barthes, and creates a writerly text in which the audience has their own ideas about why the character pictured is placed in a blurred environment whilst outside.